Hello my dear enthusiastic learners. This is Ravishankar Vangala, former Vice Principal cum Head of the Department of Statistics, Vignan Degree College, Guntur. In this lecture, we are going to learn about some assignment questions based on the introductory concepts of probability. So first one, a total of 36% of members of a club play tennis, 28% play squash and 18% play badminton. Furthermore, 22% of the members play both tennis and squash, 12% play both tennis and badminton, 9% play both squash and badminton, and 4% play all the three sports. Then what is the probability that the members of this club play at least one of these sports? So the problem is full of the figures with percentages. Now, let us solve this problem. In this problem, first we need to identify the number of events. What are the events involved in this problem? I noticed three events in this problem. One is the members of a club who play tennis. Second one is the members of the club who play squash. And the third one is the members of the club who play badminton. So, let us denote these three events in notations. So, let X is equal to the members of the club who play tennis, and Y denotes the members of the club who play squash, and Z denotes the members of the club who play badminton. Now, based on these three notations, X, Y and Z, what is the given information in the problem? What is the given information in the problem? Here, all the numbers, all the figures in the problem are represented in terms of percentages, so that we can assume there are 100 members in total of that particular club. And also we can consider these percentages as the probabilities itself. So, probability of X means the members of a club who play tennis. So, there are 36% of the members of a club who play tennis, so that the probability of X becomes 36 by 100. Similarly, the probability of Y becomes 28 by 100. Probability of Z is 18 by 100. And similarly, probability of X intersection Y. X intersection Y means the members of the club who play tennis as well as who play squash. That means the members of a club who play both tennis and squash. That is nothing but 22 by 100. The probability of X intersection Z, that means the probability of the members of a club who play both tennis and badminton, is nothing but 12 by 100. And probability of Y intersection Z means probability of the members of a club who play both the squash and badminton is nothing but 9 by 100. And also given that probability of X intersection Y intersection Z, that means the probability of the members of a club who play all the three sports. That is nothing but 4 by 100. Now, what we need to calculate here? We need to calculate here that the probability that the members of this club play at least one of these sports. At least one of these sports means either tennis or squash or badminton or any of the two combinations or all the three. So, therefore, the required probability is probability of X union Y union Z. In the notations wise, at least one of the three sports means either tennis or squash or badminton. So, probability of X union Y union Z, and according to the addition theorem of the probability, the formula for probability of X union Y union Z is probability of X plus probability of Y plus probability of Z minus probability of X intersection Y minus probability of X intersection Z minus probability of Y intersection Z plus probability of X intersection Y intersection Z, which is equal to 36 by 100 plus 28 by 100 plus 18 by 100 minus 22 by 100 minus 12 by 100 minus 9 by 100 plus 4 by 100. On simplification, we will get 43 divided by 100. Therefore, 43% of members of a club play at least one of three sports. One of three sports. That's it. That's the problem number 1. Now the second one is, a 5-card poker hand is said to be a full house if it consists of 3 cards of the same denomination and 2 cards of the other denomination. Then what is the probability that one is dealt with a full house? Before going to solve this problem, first we will try to understand about the standard deck of cards and the same the suits and the denominations, all these terms, right? So, as shown in this figure, this is the standard deck of playing cards. This standard deck of playing cards consists of 52 cards in total, and these 52 cards are divided into 4 suits, and each suit consists of 13 cards, and those 13 cards are Ace to 10, Jack, Queen, King. And these cards Jack, Queen and King are called face cards. Here, each and every row constitutes a suit. This is one suit, this is one suit, this is one suit, this is one suit. The difference between the suits are nothing but the symbols presented on the card. There are 4 symbols are there, and 2 of them are black in color and 2 of them are red in color. So that in the standard deck of 52 cards, there are 26 of red cards and 26 of black cards. And these symbols are known as, this symbol is known as club. The first one is club, the second one is heart, third one is spade, and fourth one is diamond. Now we know about the number of cards in the deck, and a number of suits are there, number of suits and the symbols. Now what do you mean by denomination? Denomination means the set of cards whose value is same. So in this, each and every column of the cards, that means all the aces or all the twos, all the threes, all the fours, all the fives, each and every column is one denomination. Like this. This is a denomination of aces. All the 4 cards are aces, irrespective of the color, irrespective of the symbol presented on the card. So all the 4 cards of the same value is called a denomination. Right? Now, first we have to find the total number of possible outcomes for this experiment. What is the experiment here? In this problem, this 5-card poker hand game is our experiment. That means we have to draw 5 cards from the deck of 52 cards. So we can choose 5 cards from a deck of 52 cards in 52 choose 5 ways. 52 choose 5 ways. Therefore, total number of possible outcomes for this particular experiment is equal to 52C5. Now, what is our event of interest? Our event of interest is the one which is dealt a full house. Again, we need to understand what this full house is. The full house is nothing but out of 5 cards drawn from the deck of cards, 3 cards of the same denomination and 2 cards of the other denomination, like as shown in this diagram. So, in this particular problem, our event of interest is nothing but getting a full house. Full house means 3 cards are from one denomination and 2 cards are from another denomination. So, we are tying these 3 cards together as one card. Similarly, we are tying these 2 cards as one card. So, there are pair of cards. This is a pair. In this pair, the first card can be placed in 13 different ways. 13 different ways, because there are 13 different denominations in the deck of cards. So after filling this first place, the second place can be filled in 12 different ways, because if one denomination is fixed here, then this must be from the another denomination. So one denomination is fixed, then 12 remaining denominations are there in the deck of cards, so that this second place can be filled in 12 different ways. So therefore, the favorable number of outcomes for this particular event is nothing but 13 into 12 into, again, in this pair the first position is from one denomination, and in this denomination again we have to choose 3 cards. So a denomination contains 4 cards in total. So out of 4 cards we have to choose 3 cards. So that is in 4C3 ways. Into another denomination. The second place can be from another denomination. So another denomination of 4 cards, we have to choose 2 cards in 4C2 ways. So therefore, the total number of favorable number of outcomes are 13 into 12 into 4C3 into 4C2. Therefore, required probability P of E is equal to 13 into 12 into 4C3 into 4C2 divided by 52C5, because 52C5 is the total number of cases. According to the classical approach, the formula for probability of an event E is nothing but favorable number of outcomes divided by the total number of outcomes. So on simplification, we will get approximately this value as 0.0014. This value as approximately 0.0014. That's it. That's the end of the second problem. Now coming to the third problem. In a shooting competition, Mr. X can shoot at the bull's eye 4 times out of 5 shots, Mr. Y 5 times out of 6, and Mr. Z 3 times out of 4 shots. What is the probability that the target will be hit at least twice? The target will be hit at least twice. That is here our events of interest are denoted with A, B and C. Let A denotes the event that Mr. X shoot at the bull's eye. Similarly, B denotes Mr. Y shoot at bull's eye. C denotes Mr. Z shoot at the bull's eye. Okay. Now what is the given information? Given that Mr. X can shoot at the bull's eye 4 times out of 5 shots. That means for X, there are totally 5 chances are there. Out of 5 chances, he hit the target for 4 times only. So that therefore probability of A is given by 4 by 5. That implies probability of A bar, that means the complementary event to A. That means the probability that Mr. X does not shoot at the bull's eye is 1 by 5. Similarly, probability of B is 5 by 6 because Mr. Y hits 5 times out of 6. So there are totally 6 chances are there for Mr. Y. Out of 6 chances, he hit the target for 5 times only. So the probability of B is equal to 5 by 6. That implies probability of B bar is equal to 1 by 6. Similarly, probability of C is equal to 3 by 4 implies probability of C bar is equal to 1 by 4. Now, here we need to find out the probability that the target will be hit at least twice. Therefore, the required probability is equal to probability of the Mr. X can hit the target and Mr. Y can hit the target, but Z is not. Plus, similarly, probability of A hit the target, not B and C, plus probability of A bar intersection B intersection C plus probability of A intersection B intersection C, because at least 2 means 2 or more. That is equal to, here all the events are independent because the hitting the target by one person does not affect the hitting of the target by another person. So all the events are independent. That's why this P of A intersection B intersection C bar can be written as P of A into P of B into P of C bar plus probability of A into probability of B bar into probability of C plus probability of A bar into probability of B into probability of C plus probability of A into probability of B into probability of C, which is equal to 4 by 5 into 5 by 6 into 1 by 4 plus 4 by 5 into 1 by 6 into 3 by 4 plus 1 by 5 into 5 by 6 into 3 by 4 plus 4 by 5 into 5 by 6 into 1 by 4, which is equal to 1 by 6 plus 1 by 10 plus 1 by 8 plus 1 by 6 again. Sorry, this is 3 by 4. So 1 by 2. This is 1 by 2. Now the LCM for 6, 10, 8 and 2 is nothing but 120. So this is 20 plus 12 plus 15 plus 60. 80 plus 27, 107 divided by 120. Therefore, the probability that the target will be hit by at least twice is nothing but 107 divided by 120. That's it. That's the end of third problem. Now coming to the fourth problem. In the game of bridge, the entire deck of 52 cards is dealt out to 4 players. Then what is the probability that the first one is one of the players receives all 13 spades and the second one is each player receives 1 ace. So first let us find out the total number of possible outcomes for this particular experiment. Total number of possible outcomes for this experiment. What are the total number of possible outcomes of this experiment? There are totally 52 cards. These 52 cards are distributed to all the 4 players. So the 52 cards can be arranged in 52 factorial ways. Out of these 52 cards, there are 13 cards from each suit. So those 13 cards in each suit can be arranged in 13 factorial ways, so that 52 factorial divided by 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial. These many number of possible outcomes are there for this particular experiment. Now, let us see the events of interest individually. First case. In this case, my event of interest is one of the players will get all the 13 spades. That is, so there are 4 players are there, player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. Our event of interest is one of the players will get all the 13 spades, but we don't know which player gets all the 13 spades. So, player 1 may get the 13 spades, player 2 may get the 13 spades, player 3 may get the 13 spades, or player 4 may get the 13 spades. So that here, as a case 1, if we assume that the player 1 gets all the 13 spades, then what are the possible outcomes favorable to case 1? What are the favorable number of outcomes for case 1? Now, among the 52 cards, 13 spades that are distributed to player 1, and the remaining 39 cards will be distributed to these 3 fellows, player 2, player 3 and player 4. So, here the possible outcomes for distributing the remaining 13 cards to all the 3 players are 39 factorial divided by 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial. Similarly, case 2. In case 2, we assume that the 13 spades player 2 will get 13 spades. In this case also, the remaining 39 cards will be distributed to the remaining 3 players, player 1, player 3 and player 4, so that the favorable number of cases in this particular case is also same. 39 factorial divided by 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial. Similarly, for other cases also, case 3 is player 3 will get all the 13 spades. And case 4, player 4 will get all the 13 spades. So that all the cases together, the total number of favorable outcomes are 4 into 39 factorial divided by 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial. Therefore, the required probability is nothing but, the required probability of this particular event is nothing but total favorable number of outcomes divided by total number of possible outcomes, that is 4 into 39 factorial divided by 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial divided by 52 factorial by 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial. Approximately this is equal to 0. Approximately this is equal to 0. So, what we conclude is, in the game of bridge, of 4 players, there is no chance of getting one of the players all the 13 spades. Now coming to case 2. In this case 2, our event of interest is each player will get one ace. Each player will get one ace. So that means player 1 will get one ace, player 2, player 3, player 4. So actually player 1 has to get 13 cards, player 2 has to get 13 cards, player 3 has to get 13 cards, player 4 has to get 13 cards. So among these 13 cards, player 1 will get one ace, player 2 get one ace, player 3 get one ace, and player 4 get one ace. That means one card is fixed here. One card is fixed here. So the remaining player 1 has to get 12 cards, player 2 has to get 12 cards, player 3 has to get 12 cards, player 4 has to get 12 cards. So out of 52 cards, 4 cards are fixed here, 4 cards are fixed here, and the remaining cards are 48 cards. So that here total number of favorable outcomes for this particular event is nothing but 48 factorial. These 12 cards has to be distributed from the 48 cards, so that 48 cards divided by 12 factorial into 12 factorial into 12 factorial into 12 factorial, and these 4 cards can be arranged again in 4 factorial ways, so that 4 factorial into 48 factorial divided by 12 factorial into 12 factorial into 12 factorial into 12. Therefore, the required probability of interest in this case, probability of event of interest in this case is equal to 4 factorial into 48 factorial divided by 12 factorial into 12 factorial into 12 factorial into 12 factorial divided by 52 factorial divided by 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial into 13 factorial, which is approximately equals to 105. 0.105. That's it. That's the end of the fourth problem. Now coming to the last problem. A cafeteria offers a 3-course meal. One chooses an entry, a stretch and a dessert. The possible choices are given in the following table. For entry, the possible choices are either chicken or roast beef. And for stretch, the possible choices are pasta or rice or potatoes. For dessert, the possible choices are ice cream or jello or apple pie or a peach. Now, a person is to choose one course from each category. Now, how many outcomes are in the sample space? The first question is, how many outcomes are in the sample space? So, a person has to choose one course from each category. So, there are 3 courses are there. One is entry course. Second one is a starch course. Third one is a dessert course. So for entry course, there are 2 possible choices are there. And for starch course, there are 3 possible choices are there. For dessert course, there are 4 possible choices are there. Ice cream, jello, apple pie, a peach. 4 possible choices are there for dessert course. So the total number of outcomes in the sample space are nothing but 2 into 3 into 4, which is equal to 24. Now coming to the second question, let A be the event that ice cream is chosen. Then how many outcomes are in A? So, here A be an event that ice cream is chosen. Then ice cream is fixed from dessert course. Ice cream is fixed from dessert course. Then the possible number of cases. One has to choose one course from each category. So, in the dessert course, for this particular event, for the dessert course, ice cream is fixed. That means one is fixed. And for starch course, there are three possible outcomes or three possible choices are there. For entry course, there are two possible choices are there. So, the number of outcomes for the event A are nothing but 1 into 3 into 2, that is 6 outcomes. Similarly, let B be the event that chicken is chosen. Chicken comes under entry course. Chicken comes under entry course. That means for entry course, chicken is fixed. One is fixed. One course is fixed. Then for starch course, there are three possible outcomes are there. For dessert course, there are four possible choices are there. So that the total number of outcomes for B event is nothing but 1 into 3 into 4, that is 12. Now, the next question is, list out all the possible outcomes of the event AB. That means A is chicken is fixed, ice cream is fixed, and pasta. This is one possible outcome. Similarly, chicken, ice cream, and rice. Chicken, ice cream, and potatoes. These are the possible outcomes for the event AB. Now, what is the next question? The next question is, let C be the event that rice is chosen. Then, how many outcomes are there in C? So, for C, here starch course is fixed as rice. Starch course is fixed as rice. For entry course, there are two possible choices are there. For dessert course, there are four possible choices are there. So that the total number of outcomes in C are 2 into 1 into 4, that is 8 outcomes. And the last question is, list out all the possible outcomes for A, B, C. List out all the possible outcomes for the event A, B, C. That means A is ice cream is fixed, B is chicken is fixed, and C is rice fixed. So, this is the only one possible outcome for the event A, B, and C. That's it. So in summary, in this lecture, we solved some assignment problems based on the introductory concepts of probability. Thank you. Thank you for your patience listening.